Okay, here I am with my 86 Bronco 2, the truck we call Gilligan. It's got my 302 swapped, straight axle. It's mostly all early Bronco stuff. It's running on an 86 Mustang speed density wire harness and computer. It's a bone stock roller motor 302. It's using Explorer GT40P top end, upper lower intake, throttle body, no mass air meter, stock injectors, Explorer front dress. Heads are stock E7s. Just got new valve springs, nothing done to them. Stock roller cam. It does have headers. They're swap headers, some advanced adapters. So it does have some modifications that are helping improved airflow. I am having an issue with it. The tune is off a little bit. It surges every now and then, and it does stall every now and then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the truck over to Microsquirt, and I'm going to be using a plug-and-play kit from EFI Source. And I'm going to document here to show basically how plug-and-play, how simple this is to do, and how user-friendly it is. So let me show you what we're working with here. So from EFI Source, this is the kit that you specify. Plug and play using this adapter harness that you get. This then plugs directly into the Microsquirt. That is the ECM that runs everything now. You have an adapter harness. This will plug into the factory 60-pin Ford plug. You have a GM 3-bar map sensor. You will take the existing map or BAP sensor, depending if you have a speed density or mass air vehicle you're converting. You'll just have to cut the Ford plug and splice this in. They give you the pigtail and everything. They give you the serial plug into your laptop, and this plugs into the adapter harness here to do your tuning with the laptop. This right here, I did not get this in my last kit. I'm not exactly sure what this is for yet. It is not addressed in the directions, so I'll have to get back on that. But in this kit, what you get in this adapter harness is you have a wire here to tap into. You will need a wideband O2 sensor to do tuning. This wire will get tapped into that. There's an output on all wideband O2 sensors. This is where you tap into that. You will not use the narrowband O2 sensors anymore. You're going to basically unplug that entire harness from the vehicle and get rid of it. Take the O2s out, plug them. It gives you a tach signal that's inside the vehicle, so it's just easier to hook up. And then this is a control for electric fan. You will have full control. You can program an electric fan to turn on and off however you want. Those are the only other outputs you get with this basic kit. This kit from EFI Source is $475, and this is what you get in it. That to me is a killer deal. You can pick up a wideband sensor for about another $160 to $180, and you're basically off and tuning. As long as you have a laptop, and who doesn't have a laptop nowadays? It's very user friendly. So now to the vehicle. So under the hood, the timing, you'll need to know what your base timing is. You can check it before, if you're starting with a running driving vehicle, you can check it before you tear it all apart. You'll just need to know what the base timing is to program it into the Microsquirt. Or you can do it after the fact. Once it's cranking, you can check it then and program it in. After it's converted, you will not be messing with the spout connector anymore. You do not unplug that. You will break that connection effectively through the laptop. You don't really, to play with the timing, you don't even have to open the hood anymore, which is nice. So what I'll do is here is before I start everything, I'll fire it up, unplug the spout, check my timing, make a note of what it is, plug everything back together. Once I get everything fired up with the computer, I'll go ahead and plug that timing into it, so I know that my base in the computer matches what the base is on the motor. The next thing I need to do then is, so I have a speed density, my map sensor. I will go ahead and pull that off, cut that wire off for that plug, change it to the new pigtail that EFI Source gives you, plug in the vacuum line, and then I have the new sensor. The TPS sensor will be calibrated through the laptop, and I do have an adjustable fuel pressure regulator. I have been playing with fuel pressure, trying to trick this into not surging and not stalling, and then it's been running rich and then running lean. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the base pressure back to 43 psi, and I'll just leave it there, and then I'll make all my future fuel corrections through the VE table in Tuner Studio. And that is pretty much it under the hood. There isn't anything else to mess with, so I will go ahead and make those couple changes under here, and that's it. Close the hood and we're done. And here we are with the GM 3-bar map swapped over in place now. So that part of the conversion is done. So under hood modifications are now basically complete. Okay, here I am on the passenger side of the Bronco. I've got the kick panel removed. I had the factory speed density computer mounted in the stock location. I removed the computer from the original bracket. I removed the mounting bracket from the body. And here is the Microsquirt adapter harness. It's plugged into the original 60-pin connector, 10mm bolt, all tightened down. Here's the plug, and here is a Microsquirt. Now I just need to find a way to get this mounted up in here somewhere. That's kind of the hardest part. It'd be better if this plug had if it was on a 90-degree. It's kind of hard to mount it and get it to bend to get it in kind of back in the stock location. But you can make it work. I'll get it mounted up and figure out something here and get the kick panel back in. And then I have my wire right here. Comes out of my dash for my AEM wideband right there. I just need to find the output signal wire. In this wire, I got to run it over to my fuse box, and I'll just tap that into this wire right here. The tack signal I'm not using because my tack is hooked up to my coil, my speed hut tack. And I have a clutch fan, so I don't need the output for the electric fan control. So these will just get taped up and out of the way. And that's it. And there is the Microsquirt mounted to the kick panel. There we go. I already test fit the kick panel. It'll everything will push right into place. Kick panel will fit. I have the serial cable plugged in. It's all wound up right there in the glove box. So now I just have to get the wideband wire tapped in. And at that point, we're ready to key on. All right, here we are. We're all plugged in. And laptop's hooked up. We have connection. Key is on the vehicle. And I have my... Basically, I had to go through and do a quick, just a basic setup, program the required fuel. Had to tell it the cubic inch displacement, the size injectors, number of cylinders. I have all that programmed in here. That's all burned in. From there, general settings, there was nothing in here that needed to be changed. What it came with was all correct. The injector dead time, I changed that to 0.900 for the high impedance injectors, stock Ford 19s. I am going with the AFR table that came with it from EFI Source. Here it is. I'm going to go ahead and start with this. They have it, looks like it's, she's a little on the lean, which is good. We'll see how she runs with this. We'll start with that. Good starting point. The VE table. Here's just kind of a general table they give me to start with. I'm sure this is all going to have to be fine-tuned. I still have to readjust my fuel pressure on the motor itself. Actually right now I don't even remember where it's set at. You can see the red gauge, the air-fuel ratio, 18.5. There's my gauge, just reading off the gauge lean, so they're synced together. I did have to go in and calibrate the TPS here. I have that all calibrated for idle and wide open throttle. You do have to go in and calibrate the AFR table, which means you tell it which wideband sensor you're using. I'm using the AEM wideband. That's all programmed in here. Calibrate the map and bar. Oh, yeah, we have the GM 3-bar. Let's see here. This was supposed to come programmed with Ford temp sensors for the coolant and air temp. Let's see here. Where was that at? Gonna make sure they did have that right here. And we are coolant temp sensor, and it is using Ford. That is correct. And the air temp sensor, we will check that, and that is set for Ford as well. So we're all good there. We'll write that to controller. So we're done. So, and then here is the ignition table for timing. Here is what they sent with it. Looks good enough to start with. 22 degrees for idle. 20, like the 20 looks like in that area. We'll start with that. Looks like it's we could probably smooth this out depending on what area mine's going to idle at. We got 20, 26, 24. May have to smooth some of these cells out to get a steady, stable idle. So we'll just see how it starts here. Other than that, should be close enough to hit this thing and see what it does. I have no idea as far as the warm-up enrichment, the priming pulses, anything like that. So let's just go ahead and hit the key and see what it does here. Well, look at that. She's running. First fire. So there it is, first fire. Plug and play. So we got a little bit of hunting, but not too bad. AFR is bouncing a little bit here. See the timing. Moving around a little bit. Get that stabilized. I gotta recalibrate the throttle position a little bit. See the vacuum it's pulling. Coolant temp we got there. Manifold air temp readings. Not bad. I mean, how much simpler than that can you get? Fire right up. She is. And she definitely don't want to rev yet. So I got to verify the timing, get that dialed in first, fuel pressure, get that set, and then start tuning. But there you go, real world, first fire, plug and play, converting it over to Microsquirt. Got any questions, hit me up below. I'll definitely do some more videos doing some real-time tuning with this on the street. So there you go. Huh. Gilligan running. Wait a minute. What? First fire on Microsquirt. Basically adjusted nothing. All bass tune settings. Right out of the box. Can't beat that. So now to start tuning. Love it. So here, to follow this up, here's why I'm a big fan of these Microsquirt, Megasquirt setups for these Ford setups, especially whether it's a 5-liter swap, even a 2.3 turbo swap, which I'm a big fan of. Guys that are doing V8 swaps in these trucks, to me, even a Fox body car, someone's doing, got a built 5-liter in their car. To me, in this day and age, I don't understand why somebody would build a 347 stroker motor with some crazy aluminum heads, big cam, and they're trying to run it on a mass air meter, trying to get it to run right with that. Every time you make a modification, you got to change the injectors, change the mass air meter, messing with sample tubes and all that crap, and then you got to go deal with the tuner, with having it dyno tune, burning chips. It's just an old school way to do it. With this setup, you eliminate the need to have a mass air meter. You don't have to mess with it. You can change injectors, program it into the computer, whatever size you have, retune it yourself. The Microsquirt has the auto tune feature, which will get you really close with a nice drivable tune. From there you can fine tune it. You're not paying someone to dyno tune and burn chips. You can street tune these things and get it so close it's ridiculous. It's just such a more economical way to do it. Like I said, more user friendly. You go a route like this, you can start with like I said, I started with an 86 Mustang 5-liter harness. You can pick up a harness out of an old Mustang or something for a first gen Ranger, Bronco 2, drop it right in. They fit so good. Or you can go brand new route, someone like Ron Francis wiring, or even painless wiring, some of the brand new harness, and still plug and play. Good way to go. The newer Rangers, I don't really have any experience as far as converting those over to this style setup, so I'm going to keep my knowledge base on the first gen, second gen style Rangers, Bronco 2s, that sort of stuff. So, super easy way to get a tunable EFI system. You don't have to rip out a fuel injected V6 4-cylinder setup and think that you have to go with a carbureted setup. In one of my other videos below, I showed with my buddy Dan's 90 Bronco 2 how easy it was to go from a fuel injected 2.9, putting in the same style. He did go mass air meter, but convert that truck from a fuel injected 2.9 liter to a fuel injected 5 liter. How simple that was. There's no reason to go backwards. I mean, unless, I don't know, you're just a carbureted guy. That's just the way you want to go. Me, I like the EFI stuff, especially for off-roading. It's hard to beat it. And then with this system here, I mean, you get controls. You know, comparing this to like a mass air setup, I have controls over. I could have a nitrous system on here and have controls over the nitrous kit. It's just basically a window switch, on-off, RPM based. Boost control. You have a drag truck with a setup like this. If this was in like in my 2-wheel drive drag truck, I have launch control settings that I could have a 2-step setup, all programmable with the laptop. So much more control. You have control over electric fan setup. I had that on here. can program the electric fan setup. You don't have that with a factory Ford mass air setup. You don't have that option. So there's so many more options that you have with this, just this base cheap kit. Like I said, I have, for what it would have cost me to find like an A9L mass air computer, find me a decent, CNL or a Pro M meter, injectors, the conversion for the harness, I probably would have had double into what I paid for this Microsquirt kit. So it is a no-brainer. Now I have the room to, down the line, maybe this winter, seriously considering building a nice 347 stroker for this, nice cast iron headed motor, something. I ain't gonna be spinning 6,500, 7,000 RPM for an off-road truck. Something that's gonna make a lot more low-end grunt. Now I can build a nice 347, something that's gonna make some bottom-end power, good cam in it, some good heads. All I have to do is throw some bigger injectors in it and get on the laptop and make some adjustments, and I'm off and going. So it's kind of hard to beat that. I know a factory Ford mass air setup would probably do the same, but there's a good chance that it might have some fits running a setup like that. A built 347 with a nasty cam, she may have some idle issues, may have some surging. Who knows what the gas mileage might be like. Well, with this setup, I can dial in exactly how I want. And should I choose to, I could go to the local dyno right down the street, throw it on the rollers, and within a few minutes, I'm sure we could have her dialed in absolutely perfect. So it's definitely something to think about. Nothing wrong with a good dialed-in carburetor setup or even a good dialed-in Ford mass air setup, but this is, for the money, in the tunability and the options it gives you, it's definitely something to think about. So don't, if it's something you've never thought about or you've been afraid to jump into, definitely look into it. Don't be afraid of it. I knew nothing of it when I got into my first one. First Microsquirt I ever got into was a Stinger Performance Pimp with my 2.3 turbo stuff. I went in not knowing anything, and it was super easy to grasp and get a hold of, and I was off and running. So that'll be something to think about. You saw it right there. Plugged it in. These short clips, I mean, that's literally how much time it took me to convert this over. The thing I didn't show was underneath the truck, me swapping around some O2 sensors, putting some plugs in, rerouting the wire for my wide man wiring. Minutes. Took minutes to convert this thing over. And now literally all I got to do is just get it out, get her warmed up, and do some street tuning. I'll probably just throw it in auto tune, let it do its thing and get me close, and then from there I'll just go ahead and fine tune it from there. So hopefully this has been informative, and you guys use this to make a judgment on your own, I guess. So thanks for your time.